Greetings, my beloved Black people. Welcome back to the plight and struggle of Black people in America. As you already know, on Sundays, we have our Prominent Black People series. And today, as in every other time, we have a really nice gentleman that's going to present something really special to us, for us. And I'm really thrilled to have this brother. And we're going to bring him on. We won't hold up anymore, and we'll see what he's going to tell us. Hello, brother. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. How's everybody doing? Your boy, Mayhem the Mentor, man. If you knew better, you do better. The more you know, the less you can be manipulated by anybody, even me.
You know all right.
We're here today to talk about our love and admiration to help serve our people, which is Black people. You know what I'm saying? So, But anyway, you want to start with any introduction to me, or do you want me to introduce?
Well, no, I want you to introduce yourself, brother, and then you can go ahead on to your spiel, and I'll probably interject here and there, you know, and we'll do it like that. It's your show, and I'm your streaming device.
I got you. I appreciate you. Well, anyway, for anybody who does not know, my name is Mayhem the Mentor, but my real name is Kevin. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I'm a youth mentor out here, and I teach young men principles of life. I also own and operate and am the founder of my own publishing company called Mayhem the Mentor Books, is where we write and publish books. Mainly the books that I write and produce and organize are books based on Black history. The first book that I wrote is a book called Black Massacres, right? And I wrote the book called Black Massacres because there really wasn't one that really was available for me to pass on to the kids who wanted to know and learn about them. One of the kids I was talking to were telling me about Black Wall Street. And as I elaborated that they were more than this massacre that happened, they just didn't know about it. So I was looking for a book that maybe would be able to fill in what I was trying to tell these children.
Right.
They didn't have any. So I just said, man, well, let me put, what I know and put it into a book. And that's how, Black Masters came about. But like I said, I wasn't trying to just, I wasn't trying to write the book. The book came about. And so I said, I just can't leave the world with just Black massacres, because that is not all of Black history. That's a very small part of Black history. So the next book you see is Black Excellence, which is, saying thank you for the shirt. Okay. But it's about all the Black people that came before us and so forth. And then the next book will be White Excellence, who are the true white people who help liberate Black people. You know what I'm saying? Around the world, not just America.
Right.
We're going to salute those white people. You know what I'm saying? We're going to acknowledge those people. And then we're going to talk about world history, is where, wisdom comes from, where everybody needs to be humble and we understand where true slavery comes from. And that is when Black people enslaved white people. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you.
But anyway, this episode right here, we're only going to talk about, this episode is about the 27 Black massacres, right? Because most time I love to talk about this book. You know what I'm saying? I have a tremendous amount of study on not just Black history, but all history. But it's a lot of history that's in our encyclopedias, and they can be found. Everything that I wrote, this book is a non-fiction book. This book is based on facts and not fiction. These are real deal Holyfield, right? And so the first one that I always talk about, the first big Black massacre that happened in America after the Civil War, because before the Civil War, now keep in mind, I always say this, and we always got to clarify, there were probably more than 27 massacres that occurred in America. These are just the ones that are well documented.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure there's thousands for sure.
Yes. So I don't want to sit here and say, oh, these are the only 12 massacres. I'm not saying that at all, right?
Well, what's interesting, brother, I only know of two. Well, as far as your book, I'm from Philadelphia, and I didn't hear anybody ever categorize that situation with the MOVE group as one of those massacres. So I guess I knew of one. I just didn't know it was one, right? So, yeah, but I definitely didn't know there was more than 10 or 15. So I'm so grateful that you wrote this book. And our people need this book. So thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Right. So And again, I wrote the book not to condemn or shame white people. You know what I'm saying? Because when a lot of people see the book, they feel like, oh, if I read this book, I'm gonna hate white people. No, you're gonna read this book and feel sorry for people, white people and black people, because the way I explain what goes on is the truth. And the truth is that everybody was being manipulated at a very hard way. And then only to realize that they've been bamboozled too. You know what I'm saying? The Confederacy was hard on everybody, white folks too. So, but you don't. I didn't realize. I didn't realize how terrible everybody got treated.
Right? Research will get you that knowledge.
Research will get you that knowledge, man. But the first big black massacre that happened in the United States that I talk about in this book is the New York City draft riots. Right? Have you ever seen that movie? You a movie guy? Have you ever seen the movie Gangs in New York?
I have, actually.
Right? Yeah. Now, this movie Gangs in New York is not about the Bowery Boys and the Dead Rabbits, the natives versus the immigrants. The Dead Rabbit riot, which is the climax of that movie, happened in 1857. Right, 1857.
Okay.
The climax of the movie is at 1863. Right, which is in the middle of the Civil War.
Teach, brother. That's all I can tell you. Teach.
So the movie is talking about a Dead Rabbit riot that happened 6 years before they show you, because if you see the end of the movie, it's going to say New York City. But look at the date. It's going to say 1863 on that.
Okay.
Right?
Trickery.
Yeah. So the 1863 New York City draft riots wasn't about no Bowery Boys or no natives. It was about white people in New York City refusing to serve the military when they feel like they didn't have nothing to do with black liberation. These white people in New York City did not attack black people first. They attacked the police officers and the fire department. Then they went and beat up all the rich people on Fifth Ave and Rockefeller and all that little area. Then they went and started annihilating all the black area. And this meant Manhattan. Manhattan was entirely black at this time. All the Manhattan, not just Harlem. Harlem is what was left.
Is that anything connected to the fact that Central Park used to be a black community? Is that same conversation?
That is the same. Well, Central Park was not. Central Park used to be a black community. They destroyed it and built a park. Yes, that's a fact.
But that was before the other incident that you're referring to?
Right,
okay,
right. Okay. Because you gotta realize that Manhattan is a borough. New York City is different from all other cities, because New York City got 5 boroughs. You got Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, Bronx, right? And you got one more, right? But I know you got 5, but Manhattan is definitely one of them, right? So Manhattan was the black one.
Okay.
You remember that singing group, the Manhattans?
Absolutely.
You're like, why would they name themselves Manhattans, right? That don't make no sense. But now knowing history, I understand why they call themselves Manhattans.
Well, when you talk about names and calling ourselves, I mean, growing up in the ghetto of North Philly, every household had names for their family members. Mine
but Manhattan,
various things, so you know how that goes.
Manhattan's was a tribute to the Manhattan was the borough, was a black borough. I didn't know that Manhattan was a black borough.
And speaking to that, I hear something about the Gap Band song, Drop a Bomb on You, has something to do with the Black Wall Street situation. Is that accurate? Because I've heard that before.
I don't know. I can't comment on that.
But I've just heard it, so I thought you might have. Right.
But this riot, right? This riot in New York City was more damaging than the one in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Why would you say that? Are you saying that the established blacks in New York were thriving more than Oklahoma was? The Black Wall Street?
I'm telling you that you had more black businesses.
So they were thriving more. You're saying it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
New York City was more. Who would have thought? Not only, and here's the difference. You're talking about in 1863.
Well, there was a
Black
period.
Wall Street did not happen until 1921.
Okay. Good information. I'm here to learn, brother. I promise you. And I'm learning too.
You see the difference. You see from 1863. That you talking about 60 years,
Right. Yeah.
So New York City draft riots started because Abraham Lincoln imposed the draft on the citizens of New York City. Now, this wasn't the first draft. This was the second draft. The first draft went smooth.
Mm-hmm.
This was the second draft that sparked off. And when it sparked off, thousands of black people died. Thousands of black businesses burnt away. We talking about doctor's office, lawyers' offices, grocery stores, shoe stores, everything, orphanage, everything that was black, hospitals, anything that was black.
Yeah, we don't know a lot of this history, so you're doing us a good deed. As a matter of fact, how can somebody get the book?
Amazon.com. You can go to my website, mayhemthementor.com, and get an autograph. You know what I'm saying? You can meet Lorenzo. If
you local in Dallas or wherever you are, if you know me personally, you can definitely get a copy through me, no doubt, without question. Yeah.
But Amazon.com. I'm in Barnes and Nobles. You know what I'm saying? So Mayhem the Mentor or Black Massacres is available in all areas of where they sell books at. I'm pretty sure you can find a copy of Black Massacres now. You feel me? But that New York City massacre, that one kind of, I never knew. And especially I like the movie. I like Gangs of New York. I like the guy with the thing in his eye. I'm like, man, this a bad, I'm watching the movie. I'm all thinking that this is a real deal. Not to realize that this movie is not about no gangs in New York. This movie is about a black massacre in New York. And they named the movie Gangs New York, and if you watch the climax of the movie, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Get that nigga. You'll see it at the end of the movie. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. But
I do, because we're.
But they should have named the movie The First Black Massacre.
They're not trying to tell the truth.
I know. They named it Gangs in New York, and what I'm saying, you named it Gangs in New York, but you gave us the Black Riot.
Well, as a matter of fact, my last guest that I grew up with in Philadelphia, he said that those people are masters of deception. That brother said, Brother Norman Dukes. Yeah, he's gonna be a part of our think tank also.
Hollywood. Yeah. So, but the second Black Massacre, I think, happened in Memphis, Tennessee. And this happened because in the Memphis, Tennessee was the first major city in the South to fall under Union soldiers. That's why it became a mecca for black people.
Okay, that's interesting. That's real interesting. Yeah,
that's why you got so many black folks in Memphis.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Right. It was the. So you had all the Union soldiers after the Civil War. Memphis was the place to be.
Okay. It make me think of West Memphis, Arkansas, when we had a bus ride. Black Men Who Care put a bus ride together to the Million Man March, and we actually broke down in West Memphis, Arkansas. And so we were in Arkansas, but Tennessee was like right up the street. So that was an interesting experience for me, for sure.
And with I used to go, my twin live in Memphis.
Okay, I didn't know he lived there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I be in Memphis. I love Memphis.
That's what's up.
Shout out to all my people in Memphis. In Cadova, Germantown, Orange Mound, South Haven, even the people in Arkansas, West Memphis. I'll be going to the horse tracks over there. Yeah, we serious in Memphis. But anyway,
okay.
Memphis has a beautiful black history, right? So after this happened, you had a lot of black people. Memphis, probably before the Civil War, it went like almost 90% more black people came. It like 10,000, it went to 100,000 black people came to Memphis right as the Civil War happened. Okay. So with this happened, you had a lot of soldiers and you had a lot of slaves. and you had people who were trying to do the right thing, and you had people willing to do anything.
As usual. More
And
than
so,
one time.
like, what me and you always told, and I told you this here, a house with no rules is headed for what?
Disaster sound like to me.
A house with no rules is headed for self-destruction.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So what happened was, they was outside partying in Memphis on the weekend, and the soldiers was outside. They got drunk with the other people out there arguing, fighting, doing what they do. The laws was called over there. But in West Memphis, even in what year was this? It had to be West Memphis in 1866. Black folks were serious. They didn't even let the police come into the area. They were trying to tell the white police that they would handle their own business. That the soldiers was trying to handle the black folks and saying, "Hey, we got this. Y'all go over there." So the police said, "You know what? I see you handle your business. We're gonna let you do your thing, but you better handle your business." The black soldier said, "I got this." Mm-hmm. Before the black soldier could turn around, one of them fools shot in the air. Mm. The cop take off running and start shooting back. Mm. Now it turned into a full-fledged shootout. Mm. The cops had to retreat because they were in Memphis in the hood.
What you're saying sounds like a movie I saw. Has that been made into a movie to your knowledge?
I don't know, but this ain't no movie. This real stuff.
I'm saying, they'll give you some bits.
Cops went back and got the rest of them white folks and told them white folks, "Hey, man, these black folks shot at the police." So they got the white police officers, they got the white firefighters, they got the white ambulance drivers, they got the white farmers and doctors and preachers and teachers and kids and everybody who had anything that can hurt or destroy somebody, and they ridified Memphis of all this.
Oh, wow.
They tore Memphis up. They killed thousands upon thousands of black people. Whether you were sleeping, eating, whispering, whatever you were doing, if you were in the way, you got ran over. You got killed. They cut your ears off and hung you from trees and stuff like that. So, and everybody participated in this. This wasn't some racist white boys.
You mean it wasn't just a certain group of Caucasian racists? Because racists come in every field and profession.
Right. So this wasn't. Like some people. Sometimes when people say, "Well, it was just the Ku Klux Klan that ran in there. It wasn't everybody." No, this was everybody.
I feel you. I got you, but I wanted to make that notion though.
This
Klan ain't the only races in America. That's for sure.
So sometimes people say, "Well, where does this mistrust come from?" Some people say, "Well, where does this mistrust come from in the black community of the police?" Right here, 1866 is where it come in at. Mm-hmm. Why do we say that? Because the police officer and the fire department participated in a black massacre.
Okay. That particular one or more than one?
More.
Okay.
Much more. Much more. All over the United States. Not just this in Memphis.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But they have significance, right? So what can we learn from the Memphis massacres?
Tell me.
This is how we got free. How we got the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment passed.
Because of the Memphis incident?
No, because of the Memphis and the New Orleans. Because of all three of them, the New York, the Memphis, and the New Orleans massacres. That said, all right, America. That's what I tell you. That's when I tell black people before we can sit here and talk about America or these white folks.
Right.
These white folks were saying, "Wait a minute. Y'all gotta stop that. All white folks wasn't with the massacring of black people.
Right.
It killed. Boy, they were trying to be good people for the world.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And so these massacres was making these people look terrible. So what they did was they said, "You know what? We're gonna since you think you're gonna hurt black people, you think you're gonna intimidate black people in this country, you think you're gonna set black people back in this country. This is what the good white folks are gonna say about that." And that's when they came with the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that is a direct result because of the black massacres.
So would you say...
I'm saying if these black massacres would not have occurred, we wouldn't have got the 13th, the 14th, and 15th Amendment as soon as we got it. We got them quick. You know what I'm saying? Like it followed right after this. It didn't take long. You feel me? But they were coming anyway. But
so was that for the good of that they wanted to happen, or was it just to try and do damage control?
It was both. They wanted to do damage control, and they wanted to make sure that it did not never happen again. They did not want it to happen. But like I say, when this is what I'm saying, this is why it's a good time for us to be talking about this, because this Trumpism is going out. People are falling into Trumpism. And what that means is it's kind of like the Confederacy. And the Confederacy was all propaganda. It was all self-entitlement. It's all about selfish gains. It's our slaves and we want it for us, and it's our rights and we got the right to write. And I choose to be I want to think for myself. This is the only way. This is American freedom. I got the freedom to own a slave. You can't tell me about that. I love America. That's the same Trumpism. We love Trump. We don't care that he's wrong. We don't care that he don't have no. We love him. It's our choice. We have a right to love him, don't we? Yeah, but that don't mean love your principles. Jesus, love your family. You know what I'm saying? Love. You don't need a law to tell you that slavery is wrong.
Yes. Well, those type of people, even the law says it's wrong to them, they say, well, it's not wrong, just like those people you just described. So laws don't do anything but put ink on paper, pretty much.
But I said all that to say this here. Sometimes people can condition their mind to believe whatever, as long as it makes sense to them and they can justify it in their heart. This is not the first time they did it. This is not the first time people have went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Right? A lot of people believed in the Confederacy. You'd be surprised on how white people that I've met, they were Ku Klux Klan members or Confederate members or this racist. And I explained to them the conditions of the South. And then the more I explained to him, the more he started looking at me like, I didn't know that. I was like, do you know how many white people got killed by the Confederates because they did not participate in the war? They were racist and everything. They just didn't want to fight. They said nigger and they hated black people. They just didn't want nobody to tell them what to do. Do you know how many of those white boys died?
No idea.
Listen, got hung on a tree.
Never heard this story.
More white people died in the Confederacy than black people. Hanging. If you did not line up in a single file line to face the Union soldiers, what do you think happened to you? They would whip you like a slave? No, they didn't whip white folks. No, sir. They hung them. If you did not want to fight like a man and go line up and wait till I tell you to fire, if you fire that pistol before I don't care if they shooting at you, you mine and I tell you what to do. This is how the Confederacy treated good white people. A lot of white people don't believe this. White people who sit there and say, I love the Confederacy. I said, do you know how the Confederacy really thought about you?
Well, I suspect a lot of white people didn't know it. Just like I think a lot of black people didn't know it, because I sure never heard this before.
Listen, here's another thing you probably never knew. They told white folks that's in the South, if you fight the Confederacy, we won't mess with your family. We'll allow your family. We'll take care of your family. We'll protect your family and all that. You fight for us, this will be over in no time, and you will everything will go good, and your family will be protected. Then they came back and took their kids. Then they came back and took their livestock. Then they came back and took their property. Then they came back and violated their wives. The Confederacy.
That was the Confederacy.
That was the Confederacy. And they hung, and then they would hang your children, or they would take your property, take it over, write their deeds out. That became property of the Confederacy as time went on.
Right.
And when people say, I didn't know that, I said, well, why are you waving this Confederate flag around? Most white people who say they're Confederates, who they will also say, my family did not own slaves, and my family was poor. We didn't even have money to own a slave. And then I would ask the same white person who tells me that same thing, why do you think your family was poor? What good job is available for good, decent white folks that a slave couldn't do during Confederacy? Why would you uphold a system that would keep your family in financial handicap? Why would you embrace a government that would keep your family in this predicament where there is no good job for decent people? You can only make money by embracing a evil slave system in the Confederacy. Do you understand this? Yes or no? And then they cross that bridge. Man, you know what? I like America now. I don't want to be the Confederate no more. What you mean? No, how did your mama tell you this? How did your mother tell you this?
They probably didn't know it though.
They didn't know
it. Yeah.
So again, people do, like I said, if you knew better, you do better. The more you know, the less you can be manipulated by anybody, even me. I help white folks trying to date. I didn't know that. I know you didn't know that. I know you didn't know. Most white people did not prosper in the Confederate. They died of starvation, or they became evil and they became corrupted and immoral. You feel me? And went to either being extremely racist and doing stupid stuff, then now that you're embarrassed stuff.
So that's a lose situation.
Starvation because you were trying to be good and moral as a Christian person, or you became evil. Which one do you want to be in the Confederate? So you can't be talking about you a good Christian Confederate. You feel me?
Because of the practices.
Because it's BS.
Right.
And so again, when they come to crossing the bridge, they always realizing this, and that's why I don't mind telling them, man. And that's why they become allies, because they realize, man, it's all about being a good person, principle driven.
Right.
Stop being so weak. Stop stop thinking that you deserve it. And then on top of that, a lot of them do not know. I've talked to a lot of white people who told me slavery helped black people become civilized.
Wow. That's terrible though in my mind. I can't laugh at that one because I know the disrespect is in their hearts for us.
I just know it's I have to laugh at some people I have to laugh at it because it's funny to hear people say that, because this is a person who thinks he's smart. He has the audacity to say that white people civilize black people. So that tells me again, this is like, how far have you? This is like a third grade student.
That makes me think of the Manifest Destiny, right? Where they said that they're going to save these savages from themselves by killing them from sea to shining sea, from the East Coast to the West Coast. That sounds like that kind of talking. You know, that's what it is.
Well, I mean, this is what I believe is that this is the talk is rhetoric. This is called, this is like I say, during the Confederacy was ran by propaganda. During the writing and the creation of this book, do you know that the Confederacy intentionally used cartoons to print out in publications because they knew that people couldn't read?
No, I didn't know that. That's interesting. No, I didn't know that.
That's why when you look at that's why you can see a lot of cartoon funny stuff that's racist, because they knew that the people who they were trying to.
So you talk about the Caucasian people couldn't read.
Right. Caucasian people couldn't read. So they used cartoons to convince them that they were better than the black people. Right.
By demeaning us in pictures.
Right, yeah. but they knew that they could not write about it.
Right, because they don't know what the words
say. They didn't know what it was.
Right.
Again, it's just crazy, because what I want people to know is that if it wasn't for the Moroccans enslaving Spain and Portugal, would none of this be possible, right? White people would never be civilized from the very beginning. With education, technology, modernism, irrigation. It's a simple life. You know what I'm saying? Bathing. White people only bathe. When we talk about civilized, right? Taught somebody something. Not teach a person, but teach a whole group of people.
Right.
White people used to bathe and it's documented. See, what was baffling to me is the same white person who has all this energy to tell me that white people taught black people how to be civilized. I'm saying if he used this energy to educate himself, he would never say that.
Let me ask you this: that time frame that you say that Caucasians bathe once a year, do you have a duration of time that existed?
16 from 400 to 600. Look it up. Look up Spain. In the year 400 to 600, let's look up how was the culture of life. How was life for white people in Spain? What was Spain downfall? How did Spain look up? How did Spain fall to the Moroccans? Right? Just look up that, right? And you'll understand that they were going into a famine. They weren't intelligent. They didn't know anything. They were coming out of a stone age.
Okay.
Africans from Africa. Africa is the oldest continent on the planet. They are also the intelligent continent. Everything comes from Africa. Science, reading, everything. There is nothing that you can get out there that did not come from Africa.
Right.
So Morocco came from Africa. They brought when the black people came into Spain, man, they brought irrigation, they brought technology, they brought land development, land crop, architect, literature. Man,
they improved their whole existence.
They improved. Spain was the epicenter of the world. They built Spain. That was their Spain.
Right.
A lot of people don't know this. Spain was enslaved from 711 to 1492. Christopher Columbus did not set sail.
I'm listening.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Columbus set sail in 1492. How is this possible? This 60 years, Christopher Columbus was already in California in 1554. You see what I'm saying? So Spain is the country that is credited for discovering America, not North America, not the United States of America, but the continent. North and South America is named after a person that is from Spain. Spain, that was enslaved by black people for 700 years.
But they treated them humanely, I'm sure.
How did Spain, out of all the European countries that was over there, how did Spain, that was the only country that was enslaved by black people for 700 years, why was that the country to name the continent?
Good question. Good question.
Spain did that, not Britain, not France, not Napoleon, no, not Britain, no, not the Great Britain, not the Pilgrims. Spain did. Spain named America. Christopher Columbus came from Spain. Spain was enslaved by black people for
700 years.
100 years.
Yeah.
If it wasn't through physical warfare, they would still be enslaved today. It took physical warfare, the Christian crusade that came through Spain and Portugal in 1492. Look it up. Alfonso the Great was the last emperor to run the black Moroccans out of Spain, liberating Spain from the black Islamic rule. But all of a sudden, two snaps in a circle, they taking over the world. Where did all of the knowledge, all of the technology, all of the navigation, how did these Spaniards just came out of nowhere, took off? Did they discover something, or did they expose what they already knew? Spain did not have a problem being enslaved by the Moroccans. Italy did. Rome did. Roman Catholic Church had a problem with it because the Catholic wasn't getting no more money because the Islamic was getting the money.
Oh, yeah. That'll create a war for sure, right?
So, it is what it is. I just want people to understand that white people didn't just wake up one day and just say, I think we should go get some black people. No, that's not what happened at all. What happened was we went over there and we finessed those white people. We taught those white people. We built those white people up. And then white people, and we were successful with those white people. Those white people were great. But we created what they call racism. Because even though white people were fond of us, they loved us, we kept white people in a subservituted role. You can look it up. I'm not making this up. I wish it wasn't true. I wish we would have maybe promoted him more. Maybe, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But if you look it up, you'll see that when black people kept white people, but then again, it's another thing we have to say, and we have to keep in context that these black people were in Islamic law. So in their law, in their mind, in their principles, it was only natural for them to do that, because in Islam, slavery is okay. Slavery is okay in Islam. So it's fine. It is normal. It is nothing uncommon for them to have a white pet that is a slave, that they own them. And that is how they kept track of who was a slave, just on the color of their skin. But this was truly, they kept, well, I want to say they were known to keep very good care of their slaves. They did not mistreat these white people. These white people were not running away. I'm sure they got horror stories, but I haven't ran across them. You feel me? Most of the white people, what I've heard, they were treated well. I heard that these white slaves were bathed. They were intelligent. They were required to read.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Sound like a good black nation.
Yeah, you were required to read, because the master who owned the white person might have wanted to have an intellectual conversation with their servant. And you can read this up. I'm gonna send you some videos so you can look it up. You don't think I'm pulling this out of my booty.
Well,
this is real stuff.
I know you're telling the truth.
So, but what happened was, Italy and the Roman Catholic Church became aware of what was going on, and they just felt intimidated. It was an intimidating thing to see these people be and what was intimidating was 700 years. See, it wasn't no 7 years or 70 years. This 700 years of prosperous.
Right.
See, they didn't say, and they didn't come to Spain and Portugal. They came Spain first, then they took over Portugal. And Portugal is Dutch. That's Dutch. When you hear Dutch and Dutch ships, who were the Dutches in the 1400s? Master sailors.
Mm-hmm.
They were the best sailors in the world. When you see a Spaniard from Spain or Portugal or a Portuguese or a Dutch person, the first thing you should know about them is their complexion.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from 700 years. That's why Spain or Spanish people got a little bit of color, a little pigment in them. That's that 700 years. 700 years is a long time. We always talk about 400 years. They was enslaved for 700 years for real. And it took the Christian crusade, where people really coming out there. But the Christian crusade had it help. The Christian didn't. The Catholic Church did not only push the black people out of Spain. Do you know who helped them?
In a minute, I will.
The Ottoman Empire, the Islamic people from the Middle East.
Are you talking about Arabic people?
The Arabic people. The Arabic people. From Turkey, from the Ottoman Empire, the original Muslims, the real deal, Holyfield from Elijah Muhammad himself, not the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad, but the real Prophet Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
Those Muslims came down and helped the Roman Catholic Church annihilate the black people out of Spain and Portugal.
Yeah, so it's, to me, then it's like today. Nobody love us but us, and we got to act like we love us. In my mind, act by living the right way, all for one and one for all, for real.
But don't you want to? But don't you got a question?
Question what part? Because see, I love history too, but I love from right now forward. That's my focus. I'm trying to get us united and get us to utilize our resources for our own well-being and betterment. That's my focus. All this good information is just that, good information. But my target is getting us black people that's here right now that love black people and willing to contribute, sacrifice, and whatever else to get us united. Because when black people are united, we'll be self-sufficient. So that's my focus. But whatever can help us get there, I want some. That's all I know.
Right on. But like I say, this is all in when I look at American history. And I want us to understand what makes us resilient. Okay. What makes us worthy? Where do we come from? And why are we in the predicament we're in now? And how should we feel about it? We should feel like
a mouthful.
Right. We should feel like, hey man, life is not fair. Don't nobody owe us nothing. We are not here for ourselves. We are God's favorite people, or we are God's chosen people. But that being said, is I love to look at myself as a special person just because I believe I'm a special person. But knowing my history, I feel like I'm worthy of being special because I look at all the stuff that my people has contribute and how they maneuvered and what they did. But my thing is that I'm looking at what they're doing and I'm saying, what can I do? How can I contribute to the world today? Right? Because our family, our people like me have always contributed. That's what makes us special people. So I want our people to know that we have always decided, even in the Morocco situation, when we came into Spain, we really didn't come into Spain like, we really came into Spain planning on making things better, serving the people, serving the community, and making things better. And we did. We did that. And at the same token, for whatever reason it is, I'm not smart enough to question God. And I don't try to question God. I just try to understand what he is doing and what he's done before, so I can try to maneuver my ways to serve him better. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I went through this history, I said, okay, well, this taught me that white people might not be as evil as I thought they were. They do have a justifiable reason to maybe do what they did. Spain was the first people to participate in the slave trade, not Britain, not France. Spain was over here. Spain made South America. Spain was doing that. Why would Spain do that? I don't know. I'm thinking, why? I always ask myself, why do white people do this? Where did this come from? And then when I found out, I say, I knew it had to be a reason. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 3. You know what I'm saying? Something ain't making sense. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to know. So I found out where it came from and why it came. And and now I look at it like I don't feel the animosity is gone. I understand a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? So now that that's gone, now I can focus on, man, what do we need to do to get back? How can we get back? God wants to see his people develop good character. That means be good people. Be a man of character. Serve your people. Love your mother. Love your father. Respect yourself. Understand that you are a part of a team. From all my studying, the biggest thing that this country has done is destroy the black family unit, not the black individual, because black individuality is out of control in 2022. Everybody wants to be special. Everybody wants to see inseparable, separated from their family. Nobody wants to say, I am a Johnson or I am a Gray. You know what I'm saying? I am a Dubriel. You know what I'm saying? I am a part of a family, and I am proud to say I represent my family well. A lot of people ain't trying to represent their family well. They're only trying to represent themselves. And they are so worried about offending their family because they know in their heart, mind, body, and soul, they're going to let their family down. That's sad. So they don't want to represent. They don't want to. I'm Tuku Taco. I'm Little Roscoe. I'm Jimmy the Jam. Super Sam. I don't know. They make these names up because they know they're embarrassing.
Well, we're going to try to get us together, and we're going to get us together, and we're going to move forward in the proper way, and black people going to thrive rather than merely survive. That's what I say, because we're going to unite.
Well, it's an evolution and not a revolution. And that's what I think separates me from a lot of other people. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, and I don't believe in revolution. Overnight. I believe in the evolution, and the evolution is the process.
Absolutely.
And the process is, we ain't gonna talk about it. We're gonna walk about it, and we're gonna lead by an example. And the best example is to show people what good families are and how good families cooperate. What a functional family is, what accountability is, what love is, how to hold somebody, how to bring love back to the family, how to focus on family, what really matters when it comes down to your family. How do you help your family maintain that bond? You feel me?
To help our people was the best way is to lead by example.
Lead by example.
So that we can be great examples for what we're preaching about and teaching about, and then live like that. And we create examples, and those that understand and feel like we feel, they'll come on board, because it's all about us helping one another. No matter the level of so-called status or whatever, because what I see in this society, they try to break black people down into 4 sections, it seems like. Upper class, middle class, lower class, and then what they call subculture. Okay, so the so-called subculture is people like when I was growing up, born and raised in the ghetto. I think that's what they're talking about, subculture. But I love all of our people, and it makes me think of a person that have a few children, And I was suspecting a guy or a woman have 4 children, they love them all. But I bet you because of a certain thing, one of them is like that's their favorite, but they don't tell their other children. And that 4 level of blacks that I talked about, the so-called subculture blacks, which I love as all, but those are my favorite blacks. I'm gonna promise you that's just what in me. Because I come from the ghetto. I know hardship. I've seen people less fortunate than myself right where we were living then. And I just got a passion for those of us that don't know as much as we know. And I know they need to know. So I don't know about the talented 10th concept that W.B. Du Bois and them came up with. I don't know how sincere they were and all of that. But all I know, brothers like me and you and others that we know, we love our people and we're going to do everything that we possibly can to help our people, help ourselves. That's what that is.
Right. Yeah, man. So the third massacre that happened in this book, let me go back to this third massacre. Right now, the third massacre was in New Orleans, right? And what's good about that was not good. But what happened in this massacre in New Orleans, right? This is when this is all behind politics. This is like I say, when people tell me that, hey man, we shouldn't be focused on voting, right? Voting or votes don't count, right? You shouldn't. Voting's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
The more I wrote this book, the more I realized our votes had to be extremely important because a lot of these black massacres was simply behind black people having the audacity to try to vote. Not everybody, just black men.
Right.
Just black men. And you got to realize, and I tell anybody this, after now remember the first 2 riots, the New York City riot and the Memphis riot, was the riots that got them to try to pass the law of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, which would make black people politicians and able to vote.
Right.
So now the New Orleans massacres, they're trying to rally the Republicans up to try to get black people and everybody to go up in there and vote. So them having the audacity to try to do what they're doing politically caused the third black massacre in New Orleans, Louisiana. And they tore it, and that's what, again, the police officer and the fire department participated in that black massacre.
Mm-hmm.
And that was behind the black vote. And the next 6 or 7 of them were basically the same thing. Black people were assimilating, going up somewhere, trying to vote, and white people were just being so outraged, they just killed everything in sight.
You know, that's interesting that you keep mentioning the fire department and police department being part of the assaults on our people. If you notice or remember, like a lot of times, like when they talk about the Selma Montgomery March and different things like that, it's like they talk about the particular massacres, but it's like they select which ones they want to share and which ones that they act like they never happened. So if you had to, and I know it's got to be hard to do this, if you had to pick one of those massacres and say which one was the very worst, which one would you say?
The one in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Why?
Because that was the first time that a full coup ever happened on American soil.
What do you mean by full coup?
Well,
because when I hear of a coup, I think of a country being taken over. So was the whole state taken over or what?
In let me see, it's in chapter 12, Wilmington, North Carolina. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it says Wilmington, North Carolina Black Massacre happened on November the 10th, 1989 in Wilmington, North Carolina. Please understand that this Black Massacre was different from all other Black massacres, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this one was a coup d'etat. The coup d'etat is known as a coup, a sudden divisive exercise of force, and especially in a violent overthrow or alternative of an existing government by a small group of by a small group, right?
Right.
The Black Massacre was a planned attack by a group of racist ex-Confederate Democrats, white men who wanted to overthrow the multiracial Republican government in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
The fire was the beginning of an assault that took place 7 blocks east of the Cape Fear River, about 10 miles inland from the Atlantic Ocean. By sundown, Manly newspaper, one of the few nationally known Black-owned newspaper companies, had been torched. As many as 60 people had been murdered, and the local government that was elected 2 days prior had been overthrown and replaced by white supremacists. For all the violent movements in the United States history, the white racist mob gruesome attack was unique. It was the only coup d'etat ever to take place on America's soil. What happened that day was nearly lost to history for decades. The fake white perpetrators were cast as heroes in America's history's textbooks. The Black victims were wrongfully described as the interrogators. It took nearly a century for the truth to what really happened to begin to creep back into the public awareness. Today, the old site of the Daily Records is a nondescriptive church parking lot, an ordinary-looking square of matted grass and trees.
See, I mean, that's why I believe if we get the proper information to our people collectively, because you said yourself, if you know better, you do better. But, you know, some of our people historically, and I think we're getting a lot better at this, where we're so concerned about not offending people that don't look like us, even when we're telling the truth. But we got to get out of that concerned about anything outside of us reaching our goal. You know, and I think we're those type of men, and there's many of us. We're just not together yet.
You see this right here, this full coup. This was almost similar to January 6th.
Oh yeah, except it was much worse.
It was much worse. But you see how they're trying to brush it under the rug, and it's not really a big deal. What you mean it ain't really?
Well, let me ask you this. Check this out, brother. Speaking on that thing, January 6th. Okay. There was one Caucasian woman shot in the face and killed, okay? And I'm not sure the number of the people that went into that building, climbed the walls, whatever they did. But to my knowledge, there was one of those people shot and killed, a Caucasian woman. It's just a guess. If that same situation were Black people, how many you think would have died? You think just one? Just like that time? Or if you had to guess, what number you think might have happened? Just one or what?
More than one.
More than one? Okay, that'll suffice. That will suffice.
More than one.
Absolutely. Yeah, bro. But go ahead. I just wanted to throw that in. Because we got to give our people information about so many things that a lot of our people been dealing with mainstream. And mainstream America don't love us. They don't even like us. But we love us. And we like us. So we got to give our people what they need, because they're not going to get it from anywhere else. And we can't reach everybody, but we reach who we can.
Well, some people say when people have a problem or ask me questions about why, you know, do I do what I do, or you know, I should be out here talking about Black history or Black stuff like this here. But I always tell people, if white people are offended, I say, I don't see any white people turning down unearned benefits. White people get unearned benefits all the time. They don't want you to talk about Black history, but they don't want to deny their unearned benefits. You feel me?
You mean they don't want to turn them down?
They don't want to turn them down.
And they
accept all the benefits of being a white person in America in 2022. They accept all the benefits, but they don't want to accept none of the negative parts about being a white person.
About the truth.
About being a white person.
The truth of that, though.
The truth of being a white person. Either way, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is that you got a problem with me doing what I'm doing, but you don't have a problem with these white unearned benefits. You accept that, Bradley. You accept that, Bradley. You accept that. If you accept white unearned benefits daily, and not today, but you still get them. You will always get white unearned benefits. And then most white people try to act like I don't even know what that is. Yeah, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know what I'm talking about. And some of them might even be as naive and say they might really don't even know what white unearned benefits are. You just getting the benefit of the doubt all the time.
Let's say, I'm glad you said that. That's something we never get almost.
A black person would never get the benefit of the doubt. White people would get the benefit of the doubt just for your white skin. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but guess what's even sadder than that part? Some of us don't even give our own black people benefit of the doubt. So that's even worse. We got just like I mentioned about those so-called 4 categories of us. It's like you've seen some Caucasians that they don't particularly like black, but they love Prince. They don't particularly like black, they love Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Sadly, we got some black people that look at our people just like them Caucasians. We got some black people that look down on our subculture brothers and sisters. And when you mentioned New Orleans, man, I got happy because them brothers and sisters over there, man, I love them. I love us all, don't get me wrong, but I feel like some of them, because no area has all of one kind. Black people are not monolithic. You see what I'm saying? But those type, because I've met several people from New Orleans ever since this Katrina thing, because a lot of them came to Dallas. And I love all of them, but it seems like something special about them. And I wonder sometimes because like when that proclamation emancipation come through, they even said then, but we're not talking about Mississippi and Louisiana. They said that. So I'm like, it got to be a reason why they wanted to leave them out. I don't know the reason, but it's got to be one. But I love all our people, but New Orleans is one of my favorite black places for me because I'm body when it comes to loving black people. Well, you feel me?
New Orleans is one of the world's oldest countries. The French countries. Oldest. New Orleans is one of the world's oldest cities.
Okay, but let me tell you why I jumped in because I thought I was about to learn something. Because a lot of people probably don't know that Texas used to be a country. They had their own national flag. So that's why I was like, maybe I'm going to learn something about New Orleans. But go ahead, brother.
New Orleans is one of the oldest cities in the world.
Black city?
No, not just black. It's a black city, but it's an old city. It's a historical city. Okay. It was here. It was one of the America's oldest cities. It's one of the first ports of this country came through New Orleans. New Orleans is a port.
Okay.
It's always been here. It's always been here. It's always been a part of this country.
Okay.
New Orleans is old as dirt. Old boy, old.
So you saying it's older than Philadelphia?
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Who you think was here? You think South America was here or North America?
Well, physically, I think they both were here. They just didn't have a name.
No, I'm talking about what you think was populated first, South America or North America?
Oh, man, I have no idea to tell you the truth.
South. Spain. Who was here first, Spain or Britain?
Well, you explained that.
Yeah, I explained that. Didn't I explain that? So who was here? So Mexico, right? Spain, Texas, Louisiana Purchase. Who owned Louisiana Purchase?
The French owned it at one point, right?
Right. Where they get it from?
You tell me. I ain't on all that.
Spain.
Okay, yeah.
Everything. Spain named everything over here. America was named from Spain. South America and North America, Mexico, Brazilian, all that Spain, all that Spaniard names, California, Califas, Texas, Jalepas. Come on, man, it's all from Spain.
That's really cool, though. Information-wise.
Man, that's crazy. It's cool, but
I'm saying to get the information, because learning, man, I love to learn.
Man, but what I'm saying is, why don't they tell us this in history? But why don't they say, man, well,
because they don't want us to flourish. They don't want us really to live well. And I think they hate us, if you want to ask me. But what they feel and think matters not once we love ourselves. That's what's important. That'll cancel all the bull. You feel me?
Wow. I'm talking about. See, but the thing is that, when as black folks, right, when we hear, this is what I thought. I'm just saying me as myself. I can't speak for everybody. I'm speaking me personally. Right, I'm looking like, okay, so the white people owned who are these white people? These white people from Britain. Okay, well, who trained these white people? More white people. Okay, I guess it's white all the way. White was always right, and not to realize if these people would have told us, well, Britain didn't get y'all, Spain got y'all. These white boys, they get those. Okay, well, who trained those white boys? Black people trained them. God, you mean to tell? I thought these white boys was the one. So I know it was white. And I think, damn, these white boys is bad because I know I looked up Britain and it was all white. Ireland, Scotland, Maryland, whatever. White. And I'm saying, I don't see any black people over there. Nobody black did anything significant in Britain. You know, but as a black person in America, you think Britain. You look at white people, and when we look up, how did Britain become so good at what the...
Well, I will have to say this without a doubt. You say black people, that's some black people.
Some,
you got
listen,
the knowledge.
hold
Yeah,
up. In America, America, it's like America, Britain is America. Britain owned America. If it wasn't for Britain, America wouldn't be here. So I'm like, okay, Britain. So I'm focused on Britain, right? Thinking Britain is the people who got black people enslaved. Britain is the white people. I'm thinking Britain is the culprit. Britain is the. So I want to learn about Britain. How did these white boys get us? Mm-hmm. Only to find out these white boys ain't nobody. Get so white. You ain't nobody. It's Spain.
Excuse me.
Spain. Britain ain't nobody. Spain is the white boys. They got us. Spain brought this over here. Spain. How did these white boys get? What made Spain so great? Mm. So when you study Britain, you won't get to Morocco. Mm-hmm. But when you go to Spain,
say there it is. Boy,
there it is. There, I knew. There it is.
Boy, you do.
Now I get it. Those were the
ones. Man, you funny.
They was the one. They might say they was the leaders.
Right.
They was the leaders back in the day. They just got hip to what's happened.
Right.
Okay, I get it now. So
man.
So when you look at the history, that's why I'm saying you got to be careful because America don't start with no damn Britain. Mm-hmm. It starts with Spain.
Okay. I got you.
And Spain is black. Okay. And that's why they hit you with so much Britain.
Yeah.
Oh, George rode the horse in the Britain, Star Spangled Banner, Britain, England. And then they even throw some France in there, the Louisiana Purchase, Napoleon from France, say, man, look here, man, fool me. But like I'm saying, when you have a burning desire to be wise and figure it out and where it makes sense and it's digestible, and I feel better that I know the truth, like, okay, that makes sense. Because something that I just don't see them just being, come here. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that. Mm-hmm. I don't see white people dictating black people like that for years and being able to control a slave trade to produce this type of destruction and stuff. I don't see them doing it like that type of people. I don't see them. I couldn't see that. I knew it wasn't possible. I said these white people ain't like that. I don't see no white people just these not these white people. I don't see these white people walking into no black Africa and be like, I'm gonna get some slaves. I'm gonna make slavery. I don't see that. But I can definitely see some black people saying, man, I need to get rid of these. We finna do this. I can see some black people showing some white people, and I see the white people. And yeah.
Boy, you're true.
They tried, they got down.
Oh man, you so bad.
But you connect the dots, and then once you connect the dots, you can move on to the solution.
That's my part. The solution. That's what I want.
So the thing is to identify the problem, and now come up with the solution.
Yeah.
And the solution is, like you say, character development, making resilient families, building generational wealth, listening to Dr. Claude Anderson's or any one of our elders who truly got it in their heart to help everybody, people. And they got to understand that economics is crucial because economics is what solidifies your principles. Because if you broke, you will be willing to compromise who you are. That's why we have to move together in unity.
Right.
And I know Dr. Umar... Dr. Umar Johnson, but his guy, I just seen another thing about him, man. You know,
Good or bad.
Dr. Umar Johnson talk about his school is going to be everywhere, blah blah blah. He's a talker.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great talker. He hasn't done a lot of things, but like I say, we ain't talking and we ain't asking for nobody money.
Well, we're not merely talking. We're gonna talk about it, but we're gonna be about it.
We will about it, but we also ain't gonna be begging about it. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no begging. We don't have to
we
beg.
We ain't trying to build no schools, and we ain't trying to save the whole world. We just trying to save all black people right here. Just do what we can do and help who we can, and we want other people to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't out here trying to sell nobody no dream. You know,
this is real talk.
We don't have all the answers for all the problems, but we definitely have a vision.
I always like to say that there's no such thing as can't unless it's against the laws of physics, you see. And when it comes to a people uniting, utilizing their resources for their own well-being, they ain't got nothing to do with physics. That's a mindset. Like my brother says on the last show, our mindset. And you spoke to mindset a few times yourself. So we on the right track.
I seen what he said. He said he read a book, and we got like I guess a similar story, right?
I told you that. Y'all remind me of each other a lot.
I didn't know. I told you I didn't learn how to read till I was 22.
Right.
And I used to read hood books, and because I couldn't read anything, I couldn't retain what I was reading. So the only thing I could retain was hood books, and I started reading all the hood books, and then I read all the gangster books, and then I read all the documentaries and stuff like that. Then I read a book about your mind, like he was talking about. He read a mind book too. I read a book called How to Use Both Sides of Your Brain.
Okay.
And it's a mind book. It teaches about mind mapping, speed reading, mind memorization, and stuff like that. But basically, it teaches you the power of your mind, just like what he was talking about.
Right.
And after I read that book, I said, man, I would no longer read a fictional book. I only read nonfiction.
I never read fiction. I never liked to read fiction. This was one brother named Michael Neal. We were fellow Post employees. Those videos that I uploaded, the N-word and those other things, he's the brother that videoed that for me back in 2002, 7, and 8. But this brother, he like, man, because everybody know me when I read, I don't do fiction. He's like, man, but just read this one, man, just for me. Right. And I think it was something with, no, it wasn't Marcus Garvey. It was something about a drug situation, maybe in England, and some black people had gotten a situation. And even though it was a fiction book, it was things that could actually happen, but it wasn't based on something that did happen. So the book was interesting, and I enjoyed it, but that was the first and last time I read a fiction book. That's just not my thing. I like to read stuff that's true because you can learn so much, and I love biographies and autobiographies the most. So when
reading does not only teach you, but reading can mislead you too. Reading can damage your brain. Reading around
based on the individual doing the reading and what they're reading. Like me, friends, I've been reading since I was 4 years old. And I ain't talking about reciting words, brother. I'm talking about reading and comprehension. My parents were that type. So see, and then for all I've experienced, it's gonna be hard to trick me into something. You know, and I know that ain't everybody, but reading is essential.
But one thing about you when you was reading, how many brothers and sisters you got?
I'm the youngest out of 5. I have 1 brother and 3 sisters.
Y'all used to read together, or you was reading by yourself?
Me, my mom, and my 1 sister.
Okay, you, your mom, and your sister. See, in prison, when you're in prison, and see, prison is a weird university analyzing place where you get to see and see how human beings work in a small scale. You can look and analyze people. You can see how things work, right? Mm-hmm. You can see how things affect people, right? You read books. I know how books are. I read books. So I see people come to prison, be one way, country boy, quiet. You don't know nothing. I'm watching him. 5 years I've been watching him. Quiet, don't know nothing, ain't never been done. Talk to him, country boy. He done read a couple books. I see him on the rec yard. He telling stories about something that was in a couple books. He did.
He said that he did those things?
He said he did it. He talking about him. He out there telling out on the rec yard, talking about how he was, blah, 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 blah. He had a Cadillac 64, blah, blah, blah. And I'm listening to this dude tell his story, and I'm saying to myself, how can this guy, why would you do that? But I read something in the book that would allow him to It sounded cool in the book, so he regurgitated what he read.
Yeah, but guess what, brother? You already started out saying he was a country boy. I'm from North Philly ghetto. That's
No,
a big
hold on,
difference, I'm promising you. And a lot of us are, though, I'm saying. Yeah.
I seen people from Philadelphia, from New York City, from Dallas, Texas, from Houston, Texas. I seen a lot of guys come in here and fall and do the same, except they weren't talking about the game. They read pimp books, player books. Now they now they a player. Now I said, man, stop reading. Stay. And you know, another book I told one of my homeboys got a book, right? The 48 Laws of Power.
Okay.
Right? My homeboy's sister gave him that book. I told my homeboy, I said, bro, that's not a good book. I would throw that shit away. I wouldn't even read that book. He told me, oh, you hating on me.
What was the name of the book?
48 Laws of Power.
Okay. Yeah. Well, go ahead with the story. I just want to make sure.
This is my boy. His sister got him the book, 48 Laws of Power. I'm telling him, I've already read the book. I'm telling him, bro, you know, there's a lot of books you can read. That book is a book of game, a book of bullshit, a book of manipulation. Right? That's a book for a white boy. You making a white boy money. You should have bought the 50 Laws of Power. Get 50 cents of money. But my thing is this. You don't need the book to be conniving and manipulating and scandalous and evil. This is a book about manipulation. This is a book about white boys doing white boy things. And your sister gave it to you, and you think I'm supposed to be here like, yeah, man, 48 Laws of Power, man. You're going to get the money. I don't know why people think manipulation and being evil and being greedy and being dumb is the cornerstone of being rich. It's a lot of people who believe that. I get the 48 Laws of Power. The 48 Laws of Power is a book about manipulation, inconsideration, evil, stupid, Trumpism. Who cares about? If you like the 48 Laws of Power, then you telling me you don't care about your family, your kids, nobody. You willing to do any and everything. You know what I'm saying?
For money, yeah.
For money.
I say that's them. That's the society. That's the seed they plant. But we know better. We gotta do better. Teach our people to know better, so they do better. And that's the mission we on. That's just simply said.
But what I'm saying is, we got to make sure that we got to make sure we understand that, man, this is important. What you read is important. Stop thinking that, oh, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to have a big deal, bro. I write books. I know what I read and write is very influential. That's why I'm very selective. I know what I watch on TV and what I listen on TV can affect how I feel. Somebody can be in a good mood, great mood, and watch one video and lose your whole day. Because somebody you allowed somebody to download something in your brain frame or your mainframe that you wasn't trying to listen to. You feel me? You shouldn't even, it was none of your business. But not somebody like being a doctor. A doctor got to go see all type of blood, guts, and all that. Man, I don't want to do that. A lawyer, he got to go listen to all these criminal cases and got to deal with all that. That's why I say pick your profession, choose. Make sure whatever you're doing, your mind is constant. Make sure your people know how to help you keep a clear mind, a level mind, a sacred mind, and help teach you how to guard your mind, guard your peace. You feel me? Make sure you evolve. Look at where, focus on what's important to you. Because if you think everything's important, then you can always crash out. You will always be in a cuckoo, oh my God. Like, hey man, everybody got problems. Everybody's problem ain't your problem.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
True.
You had your own personal problem. Focus on your problems, and trust me, you'll be able to solve and have a great life. But if you think everything's your problem and you want to be a pro and you want to solve everybody's problem every time, hey man, you're gonna have a terrible life. You're gonna embrace everybody's problem. So again, that's why I say, man, keep your problems focused. Keep your problems small. Make sure you can solve the problems. You can solve it. The problems you can't solve, you can't solve them. You gotta deal with them. You gotta live with them.
That's real.
Real time. And so I always look forward to having people like you in my life to hold me accountable to make sure that I'm on the mission of what my life purpose is, and that is serving my people and making sure the young people are staying out of prison. I ain't trying to write
best we can.
I happen to write books, you know what I'm saying? But my purpose isn't for everybody's purpose. You just know that's my purpose. So I'm in line with my purpose. So as long as I'm doing what's in line, I'm okay. But if I get distracted, I got somebody like you to pull me to the side and say, hey man, you know what you're doing is not in line with your purpose.
And I'm going to put it out there and let adults do what they do, make their own decisions. Absolutely.
Accountability is not a condemnation or a judgment. It's just a recognition that something that you may or may not even be doing. It's not nothing wrong with saying nothing. There's nothing wrong with holding your brother out of accountability, because the only reason why you saying anything is because he loved you.
You feel me? That's what that is. And then be courageous enough, because sadly, when you deal with humans, man, there's all kind of characteristics of a person. And you may have a person that really want to say something, but they maybe not sure about the character of the person they want to say it to, you see, because you can't just say anything to anybody, right? And man, I almost went somewhere else, but that's all right. I ain't gonna go there. But I want us definitely to do some more shows, because I'm definitely wanting to be a part of getting our Black people united, just like this DFW thing, man. You know, I'm from Philadelphia, but I've been here 42 years, right? And DFW is what they say. But when you're watching the news, I'm thinking I should get DFW news. And what I'm getting at is this situation that, man, I've been here 42 years and I never knew that Fort Worth had a huge gang killing problem. And I'm hurt by that, because this DFW, why I get the D news but not the FW news? I got a problem with that. And that's even how I got to reach out to things, and things go how they go. I reached out for Fort Worth and got Dallas. You feel me? And I'm glad I met you, brother. And I want us to do as much as we can, and we are. You know, we're a team. Oh, man. It's so interesting what life do. It really is.
Oh, we got the watches on the day. We got
oh, okay, I didn't know your watch. Oh, that's that blue one you talked about.
Yeah.
Boy, you something else.
Like that?
Yeah, that's that Movado, ain't it?
Yeah.
Boy, you man.
I told you it's the same one like you got. We Movado brothers, man.
Right. Same.
I just don't wear it all the time. You know, I can't afford you wear yours all the time.
Well, you don't. Do you work? Because I don't work, so I wear mine when I want to. I don't have to work. I'm blessed.
I'm extra blessed. Ain't no finish line to working, man. I work.
No, I'm talking about working for a living to where I couldn't wear this watch. I couldn't wear this watch to work at the post office. I was in building maintenance, doing heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, and plumbing work. So I couldn't take the chance of busting that watch up just working. You know what I'm saying? That was a gift. So yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, brother, I definitely want you back many times. I can say that, and whenever you want to. Would you have some things you want to say in closing to wrap this up?
Man, you know what? We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing next week, or next show. We're gonna talk about your boy, because I know you want to talk about in this show. But I can talk about it for the whole show. George Washington Carver.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. You know what's funny when you were saying that, right? I'm listening, because we said a couple of things. I don't think you're talking about Dallas County Commissioner John Wiley Price. Because I wanted you to mention, you said somebody at the county that the brother came and he was looking out for people's well-being. And
John Wiley Price?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, when I was incarcerated, in Dallas County Jail, in the government center, John Wiley Price, you said he was a man of his word. Man, he definitely came in there and checked, and he asked the right people the right questions. You know what I'm saying? And he made something happen.
That's what's up.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a while. Yeah, John Wiley Price.
But back to what you were thinking, man, I'm excited because I love all our people, but George Washington Carver, man, that's my man. And just like this shirt you got on, right? Mm-hmm. I looked at that and I'm like, it's hard to argue that any one of them brothers is greater than the other brother, because all of them some great brothers. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, George Washington Carver.
I can say, man, you know what?
Figure speech, because you know you talk a lot. Because you go with that's a figure speech player. But definitely next time do George Washington Carver, because I heard you talk about George. Man, I knew some things already. I even learned some things about George Washington Carver I didn't know. And the Hidden Color series is 5 discs, and that number 3 disc talks about George Washington Carver extensively. But you even said some things that wasn't on there. So I'm like, ooh-wee. Yeah, I love that when you talk about George Washington Carver, man. Let that be your next talk. Yeah.
But see, keep in mind that George Washington Carver is who I claim to fame. I put him above all. But my autobiography is going to be Kevin DeBriere, the new Frederick Douglass. I name and the reason why I say the new Frederick Douglass is because the correlations that I have with Frederick Douglass. You feel me? Frederick Douglass wasn't mulatto. He was white and black. Frederick Douglass is the only person to reach his height that was in slavery.
Yeah, to reach his height, absolutely. You say in slavery. Yeah,
He was
absolutely.
really in slavery.
Yeah, absolutely. As a
Yeah,
matter of fact, Frederick
nobody
Douglass.
was. None of these guys was in slavery.
Absolutely. Now, Frederick Douglass, I read his book, Narratives of a Slave, I think is what it was titled. And that brother said that out of all the slave owners he had, the ones with religion were the worst ones. That's what Frederick Douglass said. Yeah,
Right.
boy, I tell you, knowledge is power.
But for him to overcome that, and for me, I feel like, I'm a mulatto. I did 17 years in prison, which is definitely like slavery. And I correlate slavery. And I say, people say, well, how do you say prison and slavery is the same thing? Do you know that in Christmas, as a slave, they give you peppermint and fruit?
No, I didn't. Because fortunately for me, I'm going to just say this right quick and get off of it. I was born and raised in the ghetto of North Philadelphia, and it was horrible in certain ways and areas. But fortunately for me, I've never been in a gang. I've never been to prison, and I've never been to the military. But yet I made it down here to Dallas, Texas, that I'm loving, and I'll never have to work again, get a check for life. So I was blessed.
Thank you for being blessed. But in prison, they give you peppermint and fruit for Christmas.
What's the purpose?
It's just an old slave tradition.
Old slaves. So do you tell that's what they gave slaves to during Christmas? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. No. Yes.
Yeah.
They made slaves work in the fields and pick cotton. I picked cotton and worked in the field with a white man over me and with a gun. I picked cotton. I picked okra. I've been in the field from sun up to sundown. 6 days a week. Yeah.
Right.
Me personally.
Yeah, I'm feeling
years. So I've been mistreated. I've been beat down. I've been beat.
Right.
By laws. You know what I'm saying? Beat down. I've been called a nigger, and then I've been mistreated in the worst, in the humanly, and not, and I deserve. I ain't gonna say I deserved it, but I went through it. And I overcame it. I persevered it. It made me stronger, like Frederick Douglass.
Well, let me ask you this then. But those guys, like on a horse with a gun, did they actually have a whip as well?
Yeah, they got whips. Yeah, in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got. Come on, bro. Yeah.
I know that they have. I know they have a
gun.
They
call it something. Yeah, they got a whip. Hell yeah, they got a whip. The whip your ass. Yeah, they got a whip. But they barely use it. They don't have to use it. But
right. I just wondered if they even carried it just because of that slave situation.
They got it. Yeah, they got it.
Okay. Man, that's interesting. Man, you got a lot you can share with us. And
man, they got the boys to say, man, what's crazy is that people the stuff that they do in prison is crazy. Like walking a horse through the hallways of a unit. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? Let me say this. I don't know a lot about prison. I know a little bit about prison systems in this nation. Like, okay, Texas, for instance. Okay, I had a little training in TYC, Texas Youth Commission training, right? And they said that in Texas, rehabilitation is for the juveniles, for the youth. And when it comes to TDC, Texas Department of Corrections, they say ain't about no rehabilitation. It's strictly for punishment. See, so I bet things are a lot worse in Texas, let's say, than California, because in California, they got conjugal visits. That's got to be better than what's happening in Texas, right? Because Geronimo Pratt, let me say this, Geronimo Pratt made about 3 babies while he was locked up in California. So they talk about rehabilitation.
They pay you in California to work.
I didn't know that. Mm-hmm.
You get money.
I didn't know about they give you conjugal visits there, but not in Texas. I knew
that. They also receive gift boxes in California. They get radios. California prison is different from Texas prison night and day.
Well, being not rehabilitation, just punishment, being able to have sex. Come on now. How much more night and day can you get than that?
They get free college in California state prison.
Well, but you went to college. Did you have to pay for it?
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know you had to pay.
Yeah, you got to pay.
Well, how do you pay when you're getting paid such a small amount of money? You gotta have a hustle. Okay, I feel you.
Either you have some family with some money or you hustle.
Okay, I feel you. Man, I don't know much about inside prison because I haven't been, but what I have been, I've been involved at a youth village right up the street from Hutchins State Jail, and we used to be involved in the
These are
Man,
my
I forget what
degrees.
it's called, but it's just like Scared Straight. We did that. So I've been in the prison seeing it from not having to be a locked up person, but we still saw how people had to live. And that Operation Outreach is what it was called. And it's just like Scared Straight in New York. And I saw it from that view, so at least I did get to see inside. But, fortunately, not as a resident. Yeah.
My brother was in U Village. My twin brother was in U
Is
Village.
that right? Yeah. I used to volunteer over there.
Out there in Pleasant Grove. But it's very important that we let it be known, because a lot of people be looking at my elevation in education as it was easy.
Well, who would think that? How could that be easy when you say you couldn't read till 22? So ain't no way that could be easy.
Well, a lot of people, first of all, a lot of people don't understand how difficult college is. A lot of people, like you said, a lot of people think college is free. No, not in Texas.
Well, I thought it was for a prison inmates.
It is. It is in California. So if you're in California, you can go to college for free. You can do this for free. They'll pay you for that. They'll do that. Not in Texas. Like you say, how different is Tech? TDC is here to punish you.
That's what they say.
Listen, you got to pay to go to the infirmary in TDC.
What you mean? Pay to be able to spend some of your money?
You got to pay to go to the infirmary.
Before you buy anything?
No, to go see the doctor. They don't you don't get no doctor.
You got to
pay to go to see the dentist. You got to pay to go see if you go into a nurse call, you got to pay.
Wow, I thought they did all that.
And you won't get no money. They don't pay you no money. You don't get, they take that money out your commissary.
Okay. Because you're gonna want some commissary, so yeah.
Yeah, so you ain't finished. You ain't going to the doctor. You ain't gonna see no doctor. It's hard. You rarely gonna see the doctor. You rarely gonna go.
You gotta be bleeding to death, probably. I guess.
I'm just telling you the real reality. Right. Most people have this. Jail takes care of you. Jail will give you everything you need. Jail will, they'll feed you 3 hots in the cot, and everything is okay. And you'll have college, and you'll always. Now, TDC has trades. A trade is free. Now, let me clarify that. A trade is free.
Okay.
You can go learn carpentry, constructions, horticulture, and stuff like that. You can go learn a trade, but to go to college and get college degrees, like I got college degrees, no, you got to pay for that.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, you got to pay for that.
Yeah, I've been learning a lot since I've been dealing with you.
Yeah. And by the grace of God, I was able to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? So
you feel me? And then by the grace of God and yourself, you was willing to do it and put in the work.
Yeah, and it wasn't no cakewalk. That's another thing. Anybody who got a degree out of TDC, it wasn't no easy. They don't give that away. You can't pay and do the work. You really gotta do the curriculum. You gotta really read and gotta study.
You can't bribe nobody, huh?
You can't bribe nobody. You can't trick your way. You can't trick nobody. You can't go play. You know what I'm saying? You really gotta learn. So,
right.
But anyway, I got 2 degrees. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I wasn't trying to get none of them.
What are your degrees in?
Horticulture and computer science.
All right.
And business administration from Baylor University.
Congratulations, brother, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So again, and I'm not saying that to say that I'm smarter than anybody. I'm just saying that I know the adversity of not being educated and the purpose of being educated and not just intelligent. Being educated and intelligent is 2 different things. You can be intelligent and not be educated.
Absolutely.
And you can be educated and not be intelligent. But to be educated and intelligent, man, that's a double whammy. But there is a difference.
See, and when you said you can be intelligent and not educated, it made me think of Nat Turner. Okay, because see, a lot of people hear about Nat Turner and they think about the end. Well, see, I think about Nat Turner's beginning. Nat Turner, when he was a child, adults went to Nat Turner for advice and say, what do you think we should do, Nat, when he was a child? So that brother was special, and you can see he was special. Nat Turner would do things when he got ready. Might go out in the field and be missing for a month, come back when he felt like coming back. So, man, our people are so special in so many things. And, I mean, I hear about you and the last brother that was my guest. Y'all speak about the human race in a way. And don't get me wrong, I'm totally pro-black, but I'm not anti-anybody. You see what I'm saying? And sadly, a lot of people, sometimes Caucasians and black people think if you pro-black, that means you're anti-somebody else. That ain't what that means. That means I love my black people. I know I'm black. I'm going to love them forever. Do everything I can to help my people help ourselves so that we can thrive rather than merely survive. That's me. And I ain't thinking about disliking or hating nobody. As a matter of fact, I've never experienced the emotion of hate in my life ever. And I don't think I ever will if I haven't done it by this time. Yeah, tell me something about that.
You remember these medallions back in the day?
I had one, but mine was red, black, and green. Oh yeah, but it wasn't United States. It was Africa on mine. Yeah, I didn't deal with that. But yeah, that's interesting you brought that up.
I made this up. I made this. This is mine.
What's that acronym?
Black American Pride.
Okay. Well, I ain't mad at you, and I don't judge. When I know a person loves black people, and that's what they focus on, whatever else you into, that's your business. As long as you love black people and want to help black people, that's all I care about.
So, but do you know why I made this here?
Not yet.
Because I am a Black American.
I feel you. Well, but check this out. Go ahead.
So when people say, "Well, what does that mean?" I'm a Black American. So I'm not trying to go back to Africa. I acknowledge Africa. I love Africa, but I love America. I love my people. This is for me. This is for Black people in America. This is for all Black people around the world. This is for Black people around America, because we are the only people who went through slavery. Stop
chattel slavery.
Yes, we're not everybody. We're not all Black people aren't the same.
That's real talk.
Everybody want to throw up the black thing and say, okay, if you're throwing up the black sign with the Black African, then they ain't the same as American Black people.
Right, but you know the flag that Marcus Garvey came up with, red, black, and green, you know, where that was because he wanted Black people everywhere to love each other. That was his thing.
But this is us.
And and I'm with you. Don't get me wrong. I'm just pointing that back out.
And like you said, we already love everybody everywhere, but we also need to love ourselves. We can't love nobody until we love ourselves.
Absolutely. So now you preach to the choir and say, I don't know if you can make another one of those, but I would definitely like to have one if I could get it. Maybe
it's a real deal, man. So when I'm out there speaking, say, so I don't want nobody to miss, because I'm a proud Black American. And people are like, what does that mean? I said, it's 195 different countries.
Okay, but
go ahead.
Okay, check this out. Like this one other brother that's going to be in our think tank. I was talking like that, you know, Black American think tank. Now, this brother, all these brothers heavy, man. I'm loving it. Okay, the problem he got with what you just said about Black America, because all of these North and South America are Americans. So he's trying to find a way to distinguish with the word that who you're talking about. Now, I've seen what they say, they call it foundational Black Americans. That means those that descend from enslaved Africans that exist now, which is not Obama or Kamala. You see what I'm saying? So if you can kind of work on a title with your concept that has United States instead of America, because America is two continents as well, and there's Blacks in all of them, which doesn't distinguish Blacks right here in the United States like you're trying to do. You see what I'm saying? This picture does it. Yeah, but the words don't do it.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, the point is the words that, you know, I'm a Black American.
Right, but I'm saying if you can come up with words that would do the same thing that the picture does.
So the guy wants me to say I am a United States of America Black person?
Well, I don't know, because my thing is it needs to be as short as possible. Like, perfect example. You saw I had said at first, Black American think tank, right? And then I changed it and I said Black think tank of the United States, because of what the brother said. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, Black think tank of the United States, because that's saying what you just said with your Matt, brother. That's the same concept.
The brother who was trying to make it difficult.
No. Won't say difficult. It's just that he's trying to make it. Wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute. Let me explain. He's trying to make it like what you made with your necklace. That is emphasizing our Blackness in the United States rather than continents of America. Because when you say America, that's North America and South America too. You see, that's the concept. We'll work it out, brother. I just brought it up. I ain't trying to elaborate.
But I would tell him quick, Black American people. And I would tell him, stop being so difficult, because we got to realize Black people is not that Black people in America, in the United States of America, are not the only Black people in America who were slaves. We got Black people in the Americas that are in Brazil, that are in
Portugal, that's the point. But then you say,
and they can claim it. But my thing is that regardless, the name needs to be simple. We need to make sure
we can get it, bro. Brother, we're gonna change the subject right quick. We're gonna change the subject right quick.
If I made like to say, if we just said the United States of America, then that would really feel like I would say we are the leading people. That's why I don't mind saying Black Americans. You ain't United States of America, but Black American is, I'm from the continent. I'm really a servant leader, and we all Black. But my thing is that I would never try to make it more complicated. I want to make it where everybody can embrace it. But to say United States of America, I would tell you, like you saying, it's understood, it's overstood. It's overstood. Okay. A Black American, we's talking about America is the shortened down version of saying the United States of America. It's just like saying the United States of America. We don't want to say all that. The United States of America. That sounds a lot of long, especially for a think tank. We trying to Black America think tank. That's beautiful. That is the best. That's the best thing.
Well, actually, I like Black think tank of United States better because it points to what your necklace is about.
Right.
That's my.
I think it's long, and I think, like you said, I
Black
like it
think tank of the United States. That's long.
It's long. It's long,
brother. For the last time, we going to change the subject.
Yeah, it's long, but
we changing the subject. We changing the subject. Okay.
Go ahead. Long subject.
But anyway, we've been for an hour or so. But what I usually do is wrap it up and then play my little song, right? But this time I'm gonna play the song with you there, and then I'm gonna wrap it up because it's all about us Black beautiful people, right?
Right on.
That's what that's about. And I'm feeling it too. Oh man, I'm so looking forward to it.
Wow, 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 I love my people.
That's a good.
I love my people. Beautiful Black people. I love my people. I love my people. Black people.